Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. It's Sunday Night Live. I'm joined by Ricky and I'm joined by Adam. How you doing, lads?
All right, mate.
Yeah, fine, mate, yeah.
Good. We're going to do something a little bit, well, not a little bit different. We've been doing this on a Sunday night for the last few weeks, and I think it's developed in what needs to be its own show now. So we're going to call it the tier list, and we're going to basically be ranking different things over the weeks in a discussion like we did last week. Last week we were talking about players that we think would be in a Premier League winning side for United, and it created a really good debate amongst the live comments and ourselves. So today we're going to do tier list based on Manchester United signings over the last, and I'm not doing post Sir Alex. I'm actually going to include the last couple of years of Sir Alex, so we can have like Van Persie, Daheia, Phil Jones. So we'll be ranking them basically on whether they're best you can be is an elite signing, second best is decent, average, not that good, awful. So we'll go through a player, we'll have a chat like we did last week, and we'll go through. Now, I've already looked at the list. That there is 30 players. I doubt we'll get through 30 players, but out of 30 players, I've only found 3 elites. Now, that's how harsh I'm going to be on this, because I was listening to what Ricky said last week, and he's right. We ain't won a title in 6 years, so calling people an elite transfer signing is probably scratching the barrel a little bit. But I did find 2 or 3, so we'll get into that. But before we do that, let me just get the screen so everyone can see us all. I like that one better. Bit of topical stuff. We've heard that the Premier League could be coming back. We were talking about this last Sunday. The latest from today, lads, and give us your thoughts on the where you are at the moment, because I think there's people like Gary Neville and Piers Morgan who don't want it back. But the latest I heard today, which I find stunning, is that some of the teams that might be relegated, so we're speculating here, but let's pretend it's Norwich and Brighton, have said they're happy to finish the Premier League behind neutral grounds as long as they don't get relegated. Am I missing the point as to what the point is in coming back if teams don't get relegated?
Yeah, you're not enough, mate. There's nothing there. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely. I mean, I think Brighton have already come out and said that they're not happy to play on neutral ground. I think I'm right in thinking that already. So, they're mid-tier. I think they look pretty safe-ish. You know what? I need to look back at the table, mate. It's been that long. You kind of forget what's actually going on because of the reality of the world right now. But, mate, you've not missed anything. I don't understand that whatsoever at all. There's no point in it coming back if you can't play by exactly the same rules. Simple.
Well, if we all come back for the final 9 games of the season, but nobody gets relegated, and we know Liverpool are going to win the league, it's only for us and Chelsea and maybe Wolves and Sheffield. There's just no point, Ricky, is there? I mean, if they're not going to, I don't see how that can fly. I personally think, all right, then let's not come back for 9 games. Let's look at the league table now and relegate the 3 that we were there, because I just don't get it.
Yeah, I don't see how they can. I don't know if they can enforce what they want to, try to say, so to speak. But like Adam said, Brighton have said that they're not happy to play on a neutral ground, but they are happy to continue the season as long as they do get their own games on their own ground. Whether that could go to a vote and it would just happen, or whether this is going to end up going to court or something, I don't know how it would work. I really don't know. But these teams at the bottom, like he said, they're fighting tooth and nail. This is exactly what he said, basically. We're fighting tooth and nail to stay up, and we don't want to give up our home advantage. Despite the fact that there's no crowds there, they're more comfortable playing in their own stadium than playing in a neutral stadium. What I don't quite grasp about that is obviously the teams that they're competing with are going to have their home games on their home ground then if they want, aren't they? So I don't know if they've got an advantage themselves, but the other teams have got, if it is an advantage, they've got that advantage as well. So I don't really get his point, but it's his way of actually fighting his corner, isn't it? He's actually starting to fight his corner to keep his team up, whether they're going to stay up by playing football on the pitch or...
Interesting one on that as well, Ricky, mate. I mean, you're probably good to actually look at the runnings that each team have got, and they're probably taking into consideration what their running is as well.
Yes, they might be playing 1 or 2 of the other teams near the bottom at home.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
I think you're spot on there, lads. I do, and I think that my feeling on it is that, look, I'm sure there's probably a few games in there that they're thinking, oh, we've got them at home. That's a big chance to get 3 points. But what they've also got to take into account is there's 3 options here. We cancel it, which I don't think anybody thinks is the right thing to do. We wait until it's, you get your home advantage, which we could be waiting 18 months for, or you do it in whatever situation's available. And, it's like taking the title away from Liverpool or not relegating Norwich, isn't it? I think at the end of the day, common sense needs to prevail. And, we're trying to do something unprecedented here. And I don't think teams that might get relegated have got a right to say, well, we want to play on our own ground, because you're not having fans there anyway. Just crack on with it, lads. And but we'll see. It's going to develop. It's going to get, and this is just the different layers of it. And I hear some people say, "Well, we may as well just cancel it." No. You may as well actually argue it out with these people and put your foot down, I think. But we'll see what happens with it. We'll see what happens. On to lighter topics. We're going to do a tier list tonight on Manchester United players. There's 5 categories for each player. We're going to talk about them. Elite means they're a brilliant signing, obviously. Decent means they're a decent signing. Average, not great, and awful. And I think for the laugh, we're going to start off with. Everyone knows where I'm going to start off in the live comments, and Ricky's the man in the middle here. So the good thing about this is it's not just the player. I'll read out the player. I'll read out the fee that we paid for them, because I think the fee is important as well. Because if you're talking Martial, we did pay a lot of money for him. Fred as well, and also the manager. We're going to see which manager comes out on top as well, because there's been some good signings and bad signings in there. But we'll start off with it was the summer. I'm not going to be Brian Adams. I'm going to be what summer was it? It was the summer of 2017. Jose Mourinho reunited himself with Nemanja Matic for £40 million. Where would you, Ricky? I'll let you go first with this one, even though Adam looks like him. What category would you rank Matic as a signing? Elite, decent, average, not great, or awful?
Decent.
All right. Disappointed me now. I thought he was going to say elite.
No, not quite elite, no, but he's definitely decent. He don't deserve to be in any of the other brackets. I think the summer we signed him, Chelsea had just won the league. I know that's not really relevant to us, but that's the type of player you get in for your money. He just won the league and played 34 or 35 games. And then in the season he signed for us, we finished second. We might have been a million miles behind City. I've said this many times, at least we were the best of the rest. I wish we were now. So we were perfectly satisfied with him. In fact, everybody was raving about him in the first few months. And then last season, Mourinho, it's so difficult to put your finger on what happened with Mourinho in that season, because this is the season he got sacked I'm talking about now. Matic was a little bit out of favour with him. He fell out with Lukaku. I think he fell out with Pogba, didn't he? I think Mourinho was just falling out and dropping in players that a lot of managers who spend a lot of money back those players, don't they? They want them to play, and he was backing them at first, but when it started going a bit pear-shaped, he turned against 2 or 3 different people. So I'm not exactly certain that that's the fault of those players. If he'd have just not fallen out with them and kept playing them, we might have done a bit better. You know my feelings on Matic under Ollie. He played great. He played well. He was playing in the first few games when we were winning all those games. And then when it started to go the other way, he wasn't in the team. The beginning of this season, he wasn't in the team. I have a lot of people telling me that he wasn't fit. He had a little spell injured. He missed about 3 or 4 games injured. Most of the time, he just wasn't selecting him, and he needed to select him. And he didn't select him until McTominay got injured, and McTominay got injured. And we haven't looked back. Matic is an automatic name on the team sheet since McTominay got injured. So for the players missed quite a few games. But in my opinion, he shouldn't have been missing games. Mourinho was getting it wrong when he was leaving him out. Ollie was getting it wrong when he was leaving him out. And now he's back in and playing well again. And he was playing well when he first came. So for me, at least decent. Bordering on white.
Ricky, there we were meant to be giving 10-second answers, but there you go. I'm only joking. Matic, then, would you agree with decent? Would you go higher elite or lower to average?
No, he's not elite. But I remember when we first signed him. You could judge it off when we actually signed the player, how you thought that signing was, rather than how he's played at the club.
Yeah, I would have had awful for that. I remember being pissed up. I'd been in a beer garden we're driving back, and I just went live off my phone. It's up on the channel somewhere. I was going mad. I got so much hate because it's like, even no matter what people think of Matic, for a United fan to be slating a new signing, I think at the end of it, I was like, "I'll give him a chance," but I think he's shit. I had a few beers, to be honest. But
yeah. I mean, I remember when we first got him, and there was a lot of it was big publicity because United had bought a player and established Premier League winning player, and people couldn't understand why Chelsea let him go to United, because you know what, they've seen it as Mourinho in his second season, and then obviously enhancing what his reputation already was by trying to build his sort of Mourinho-esque team around again. So for me, he definitely slots just about into the decent category, because I think Mourinho killed him after signing him. He sort of went decent to average to decent again, didn't he? It all comes down, and again, we're going to talk about it at the end. It's like the management side of it, because a lot of these are going to be judged off how the managers played and when they've played them. So, I mean, I'm with Ricky on that one. He is going to be on the first. He's going to be one of the first names on the team sheet when we start again. That says it all, doesn't it? With everyone fit in our squad right now, which they are. If he comes straight in, he's decent in it. I mean, he's probably the best at what he does at our club right now. There's players that are probably going to need to come in and replace him soon enough. He isn't our future, but as of now, and when we signed him, I would say decent signing. I was quite. You know what? I thought, it was a decent signing for 40 million for a Premier League winning midfielder who's got all the experience in the world. I thought he slotted in quite well with what we had, with quite a young team at the time, I remember, and inexperienced team at the time. I thought Matic was good for that as well. So, yeah, slot him into decent.
Okay. Just for anyone who's tuning in a little bit late, please share the video and smash a like on the video. We are doing a Manchester United tier list tonight on transfers. It's not pre-Fergie, it's not post-Fergie. We've got about 30 players. I'm just going to randomly go through it. We might have to do a part 2, actually, so I'll mark them down. We'll try and be a little bit quicker. Can we get a category called retirement home for Matic, says Josh Boward. Well, I'll tell you what, I've got to bow down to the fact that there's 5 categories: elite, decent, average, not great, and awful. The lads have already gone decent, so whatever I say is irrelevant. But to be honest with you, I was going to go. I was probably closer to Adam than Ricky, who was very firm with decent. I was sort of average decent, because I think I've looked at the whole career. For £40 million, probably about fair price. So, yeah, I'll put him into decent, but I was skirting average a little bit as well. But I can see we'll put him in decent then. Next one, let's move on to Pogba. Let's just do Pogba while we're there. Pogba was bought for 89 million in the year before, 17-18. We'll start with you, Adam, first. What do you think, Pogba? Where would you put him? Elite, decent, average, maybe not great, actually. He could be in any of those 4. I wouldn't think he would be awful, but...
No, he's... you know what? Thinking at the time when we bought him, I would have thought elite, because that's what I thought we were buying for that money. At the time, you would categorise that. That was a marquee signing, and there wasn't many marquee signings out there, and we got one. In terms of his career at United so far, he drops back down into decent for me, because people go on about what he's done. He's not played this season, so we're not going to judge him on that. Last season, if you're going to go off stats, he was our best player. How his attitude is obviously splits the fan base completely. So we're judging it straight off what he does on the pitch. This season, when he showed up on the pitch, he's been our best player when he's played. It's ridiculous how he comes on and just carries on where he left off in terms of not needing much time to get to grips with anything, in terms of fitness and keeping up with the actual game. Remember, the Watford game was prime example of that. We were awful, and then he's basically showed up all our players. Price-wise, at the time it was steep, wasn't it? We all said it was steep at the time. It was a lot of money for a player, but we thought we were investing in a 10-year investment in our central midfield to take us forward. Coming back to United, we didn't see any issue at all. I didn't see any issue at all. I didn't expect what happened to happen. So for me, I know this guy has got world class in him. He's a World Cup winner. He's won the league with Juventus. He's won pretty much everything you can win. And you know what? In big games, he has turned up, hasn't he? So he's definitely not average. So he's got to go into decent off that logic.
Okay. It was actually 16-17 season. I've wrote 17-18 down for 2 sets of players, but it was Mourinho. Adam's gone in there with decent. Ricky for, I must admit, I've already made my mind up. I've already got what I've put, so I can't be swayed on this. But Adam's gone decent. Ricky, what are you going to go with? If
you've gone decent, there's no point in me going, is there?
No, I haven't said yet.
Okay. I heard Adam say there in his summing up that you can't hold against him being injured all season, which you can't hold it against him. Of course you can. But we're talking about value for money for a signing, aren't we? if you signed a player for £89 million and a week later he broke his leg and never played football again, you'd say it was a disaster, wouldn't you? It's a disastrous signing.
Yeah.
So
it has to be a factor. Yeah.
You have to take into account, I think, things like that. And he's missed the whole season.
Mm.
I'm not saying he hasn't got all the ability in the world, but he's missed a whole season injured, and been a bit inconsistent, really, in the previous seasons. I mean, we just spoke about Mourinho starting to leave him out of the team. I can't remember the exact whys and wherefores, but for £90 million, I would like to think that you'd get somebody of the calibre of a Roy Keane or a Paul Scholes, who the manager would never drop. It's just inconceivable. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I'm going to go. I'm not saying he's not got all the skill, all the talent in the world. I'm not saying that. But for value for money, what we've had from that signing, I'll say it's an average signing.
Okay, so for people joining us a little late, we're ranking Manchester United transfers in a tier list: elite, decent, average, not great, awful. So we've done Matic. We said decent, and Ricky said decent about Matic, but he's now said average about Pogba. Not my words, Ricky's words, and he's happy with them. Adam's gone in with decent for Pogba, so I've got the casting vote on this one. I said decent, and I said decent because I think I look at what he's done has been elite at times. I think back at the game at the Etihad, but I also think at times he's been bang average. So I just settled in the middle, which is decent. I think he has. I thought the fee at the time, I thought Adam was right. It was a lot of money. I was very excited about it. I thought it was a fantastic signing. But he has dropped somewhere between elite and average for me. So I think decent on Paul Pogba is what I would go with. Here's a good one. Fred, bought in the 18-19 season for £53 million. Again, it's Mourinho. I'll have to flip around and do some of the managers in a minute. But Fred, for £53 million. Ricky, what do you think about Fred as a signing for £53 million, where we are now?
At first, when I was watching Fred, I wasn't happy with him at all. I wouldn't have thought he was worth anything like £53 million. But he has come on this season in leaps and bounds. Still not the sort of player I don't think that we could build a team around or expect to win a league with him. We spoke about this last week. How many players are we supposed to have that could win a league when we thought, are we 40 points behind Liverpool or something? You know, we're dreaming. And I think Fred falls into that category. But he has come on in leaps and bounds this this season. For 50 million quid, he's definitely not elite. So then we've got, what's average, I'll say average.
Okay, not decent.
No, I'll say average. He's doing well. He's worked right, fantastic. But he's a midfield player. He's not a defensive midfield player. He's more of a box-to-box player. He scored 1 goal for us in the league.
He admitted himself that week. He said that this week, hasn't he? He said, I'm a box-to-box player and I need to get more goals and assists, which we were talking about last week. Yeah.
This season, he's not scored a goal. He's not got an assist in the league. And I know he works hard, but that's the minimum requirement, isn't it? Is it not? Surely. So,
yeah.
You know, so I'll go average.
Adam, we've got elite, decent, average, not great, or awful for Fred. Where are you going to go as a signing?
Crazy looking at some of the comments there. I'm like, first season, what did Fred do?
You've got to take into account his price as well. Yeah. 53 million was a lot, wasn't it?
53. He did nothing in his first season. Yeah, not totally his fault, but he's got better this season. Yes, I agree with Ricky on that. He is showing, and probably is one of our most improved players from where he started, from what we first started watching, definitely. When we can get him into more of a position that he likes to play in and he's more comfortable in, then we may see a decent player. There was a decent player you probably could argue at Shakhtar Donetsk, but for us, he's got to roll into the average category, Annie, because he hasn't really had a chance. He's had, one season this season. You can't really say it's been decent because we're still lying outside the top 4. He was 53 million. We bought him in thinking we're buying a complete midfielder again. And like he said, Ricky said then his goals he's not contributed in that side of it. And if he is a box-to-box, then that has to be part of it. I mean, Bruno's a box-to-box, according to the director at Sporting. You know what I mean? He plays the 8 role, and that's a box-to-box. That's a midfielder, isn't it? That's a different level. So for me, he goes into average. He has to go in average, and he could get into that decent category, but he's just not had enough time yet. We can't really say he's decent from the season finishing where it is now and what he's done already in the past. So I'd go average on Fred.
Okay, so whatever I say doesn't matter now because the lads have gone with average. Quite a range on the live comments. A lot of people saying average, but a lot of people saying decent as well. Fred shows more commitment than most others, says Tamal Das. But maybe we're falling into what Ricky says there, or should we not be expecting commitment as a standard thing? And yeah, at times I think he has. He has done that. But I think, as Jermaine's saying there, the team isn't a title-winning team, so you've got to be a bit harsh on some of these signings. I actually, I'm not going to say he's an elite signing. I didn't feel he was an average signing, so I went with decent based on the fact that I think this season he's been one of our players of the year. But you've also got to take into account the first year where he was a flop, basically. So I went with decent, but the lads have gone with average. So Fred is in the average category. We've done 3. Pogba and Matic are in the decent category. Fred's in the average category. No elites yet. Could we have an elite now? We'll move away from Mourinho and we will go to 13-14 season. It's David Moyes. He's only got 2 in the list, and it's Juan Mata for £40 million. We'll let Adam start on this, even though Ricky's raring to go. I can see the word E coming out of his mouth. But Juan Mata for £40 million, 7 years ago now. 7 years. I mean, straight away, you're looking up the table of categories there, aren't you? Because 40 million, 7 years. Jesus, you've got a decent servant on your hands there straight away, aren't you? So you're creeping already at midway there. And then you're looking at the output of the player. I mean, this comes down again to managers. I mean, how many managers has Mata had at Manchester United? Is it 5 now? Is it 4 or 5? 4 managers. Well, he had gigs as well, didn't he? So 5.
Yeah. So, 5 managers in 7 years. So it's hard to judge it. I know what quality he's got. I know what Ricky's going to say right now. But for me, I don't think Mata was the player that we needed when we bought him. We didn't need that type of player then. We really didn't.
Totally misused him anyway, didn't we?
Yeah, he was there. He was the only decent player available at the time for David Moyes to buy in January to make up for what he did in the summer with Ed Woodward. And I thought we just got pressured into buying him from Chelsea because Mourinho didn't want him. Then all of a sudden, Mourinho comes back in. Van Gaal could have his scattergun transfers could never really fit Mata in his right position for me. He bought too many players. We had too many round pegs in square holes. Mata was one of them. We all knew where we needed to put Mata and play him. We needed to play Mata and build a team around that type of player, but we didn't. It's not all Mata's fault, but going off, because he's a tough one. I'm bordering on decent to average with Mata. I really am, because the last 2 seasons he hasn't done much for us.
Yeah, again, he's on there. Yeah,
because he's not.
Go average, played. Adam. Go on.
Yeah, I'll roll him into average just to give Ricky a bit of a riling. But I've not seen him on the pitch, and it's like Ricky said with Pogba. In a way, he's probably right, because we're not seeing enough of him for 2 years. Then you know what I mean. I'm going with average. I'm going to end up convincing myself. Otherwise, if I keep talking.
So the categories for everyone at home who's joining a little bit late, because I know people do. We're doing tier lists on transfers. You've got elite, obviously the best, decent, second best, average, which is what Adam's gone with Matic, not great, and awful. So there's 5 categories. I'm going to go to Ricky. I'm not going to say what I've gone with. I know what I've gone with, but I do feel that if there was a wasted category, Mata would almost go into that, because I think he has been wasted. But here we go then. Ricky, where's he going to put Mata?
I'm definitely putting him in decent. Like Adam said, we've had 7 years out of him for the money. He has been there and played plenty of games. When we spoke about Pogba, I remember you saying, Mark said, we've had some good times out of him. He's got 2 goals at the Etihad, and then when we've come to Mata, Adam said You know, he's not done anything matter this season. Well, he scored a great goal in the FA Cup against Wolves. You know, can I not throw that in? He's a, you know what I mean?
Wanfield.
He's a Wanfield, and we've only there's I know we're Man United and we expect more than this, but we've won three cups since Fergie retired, and Mata played in all 3 finals. I think he's only one of 2 players who played in all 3 finals. He definitely goes in the decent category for me. And also, as I've said time and time again, it's a team game. So if we're going to take into account as individuals, us 3, what we think of that player and what that player could have done had he been playing at the right time with the right players, because I think he's been, like you said, he's been wasted, he's been underused. And I still think he's a quality player today. Still gets underused. I've just mentioned his goal against Wolves. Most people would think that he won't be able to run that far the way they talk about him. His speed. It was a brilliant goal. So he's still a good player now. Still not getting used enough, and virtually never has done. So definitely a decent signing for me.
So Ricky has put him in decent and Adam's putting him average. Someone was saying, can you do a chart? The plan is that I'm taking all the notes down and tomorrow we'll tweet it out, our United Stand transfer tier list. So you'll see them all on a tweet tomorrow. So don't worry about that. We're getting the results in tonight. I actually put Juan Mata, and I feel bad for saying this. I put him in the average category, which means he goes into the average category with Fred. And I did it, and I'm sure Adam's the same. I did it with a heavy heart, because I think the thing that pushed me was the fact that he's wasted, not because I don't like the player. I said this before. I saw him play in the year before the World Cup, 2011, in the summer tournament, and I was like, who is this? Chelsea have got a cracking player there, and we just wasted him. We never played him in the position that we should have played him in. And I think that Adam's right. I think the last 18 months I've not been impressed with him in the big games, and I just think we wasted him. So for me, 40 million, which 7 years ago is probably 80 million today, I think, a couple of really good goals and some good performances, but we've been bad for 7 years and he's been here for 7 years. Has he made us better? I just think it's average for me. I really do. Ricky's still staying on. Good. Okay. Right. We're going to move to one of my lads now. Let's go. And we'll go for the first Van Gaal signing of the night. So we've got Matic, decent, average Fred, decent Pogba, and average Mata. So 2 and 2 at the moment. This is going to be a good one. 14-15 season, £33 million. Van Gaal signing, Luke Shaw. Ricky?
What year did we sign it?
It was the 14-15 season, so it would have been 2014, yeah.
Obviously, he had a terrible injury, and I said, I can't sort of say differently, because I've just mentioned Pogba missed the season, injured. He's missed most of this season injured. I thought he was absolutely on fire just before he got injured. Really did think we had a fantastic player on our hands. For a long time, I thought he hadn't recovered. I didn't think we were ever going to see the same player again, because he wasn't great when he first came back from injury. But I think he's overcome everything, got himself fit. He's in the team all the time now. If we play with 3 centre-backs, he gets used as a centre-back. I would never have dreamt of using Luke Shaw as a centre-back. So I'm more than happy with him, more than happy. But he did have a long time out injured. Not his fault, like you say, but he's still missing a season. But he's played, 3 seasons?
Fans player of the year last year.
His fans player of the year last year. He's playing really well.
That's where I'm going with this.
I've got to go decent. Bit of a shame of his injury, but up to getting injured, he was absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And then it took him a while to get back, but he has got back, and he deserves credit for that. He's worked at it. I'm going decent signing. How much was he? 40 million quid?
33 million, which was expensive at the time.
Right. He's definitely a decent signing, Luke Shaw.
Can everyone still hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, I can see you, but I can hear you.
I'm waiting for the next question now, Mark.
I've got no idea what's happened with my camera, everybody, and I'm just a bit confused as to what's happened with my camera. But I'm still here, Adam, Luke Shaw, while I try and figure out what's going on here.
Yeah, Luke, I'm going to make this an easy hat trick because I know where Mark's going with this. Luke Shaw, like Ricky said, then he was unlucky with his injury because right then he was absolutely mustard. Absolutely mustard. I remember it, and I remember thinking, "Oh, this could derail the team's season, let alone his season, because that's how much momentum we were moving with at that time." He was, in fact, I think, already pre-lockdown in transfers by David Moyes, if I'm right, and then Van Gaal came in and snagged him and the Herrera straight away. They were already set in stone in terms of what was going on. That was what was being said. So for me, I'm going to go decent because right now this season he's come on, he's shown a bit of versatility and a lot more fight since Brandon Williams has come in. Versatility moving into the central role at centre back, which I agree with Ricky said that I did not see that coming at all. So probably credit for Ollie on that side of it. But for me, he's bordering beyond the average and decent, but definitely towards a decent more, I would say, because like I said, he's been here years now. He's missed a year, and it feels like he has still contributed quite a lot already. So that says a lot on its own, to be honest. And I think we've still got a player there for a good few years in us. And there's no moving him at the moment. There's no moving him out of that position at the moment right now. So if we were to pick a team right now, with everyone fit, Luke Shaw would go straight into it. Like we said, Matic would. So, yeah, decent signing for me all day.
If I could just add to that, Adam, I like what you just said there. Like he's still in the team right now, and when you think, we've signed that many players that have struggled, and he's been at the club 5 years, and even though he's had spells out, 5 years later, he's still, like you've just said, no one's moving him at the minute.
Yeah,
and I think
there's a lot. Does say a lot. That longevity speaks for itself in terms of a player, and he's been there. Like you said, 5 years gone, had a year out with probably the worst injury I've ever seen, apart from David Boost for Coventry. Well, I was there at that game. That was horrendous. That's on a par. So for him to come back from that, and then added to that, taking the stick from Mourinho that he did, which was a lot. Mourinho publicly outing him all the time. I think he's stood firm. He's shown. Yeah. He's shown some decent grit, so for me, deserves to be well and truly in there.
Definitely. Are you there, Mark? I think we've lost him, haven't we?
looks like we've all got our way here, doesn't it? It's the Ricky and Adam show. There he is.
Yeah. If it's something wrong, turn it off and turn it on again. So as long as I come back and Luke Shaw's decent, I'll be happy.
Trick.
Yeah, I don't need to add anything there. I think everyone knows I'm going to go decent with Luke Shaw. So, this is interesting though. This is 2015. Just your thoughts on this is a little bit of break, sort of in the middle as we get through here. I found this today, and I was absolutely stunned by it. See if we can find the tweet. Slow. This is the problem now. So it's 2015, and Louis van Gaal didn't get sacked for another year, and yet he did what I'm about to read out to you now. £30 million. He sold 5 players. Well, I suppose. Well, actually, the observation is probably more about Woodward as well. But this just stunned me when I actually went and got the ages right. Summer of 2015, he sold Javier Hernandez at 26 years of age for 10 million. Johnny Evans at 27 for 7 million. Van Persie at 31 for 6 million, Nani at 28 for 5 million, and Raphael at 24 for 3 million. These were not old players. Evans was 27, Hernandez was 26, Nani was 28, Raphael was 24, and Van Persie was 31. And we sold those 5 players for £31 million combined. I mean, what? I just couldn't believe it. And also, all right, Van Gaal got sacked. I thought Alexis Sanchez was the worst business Ed Woodward ever did. I just can't get over that. I remember it, but my life, just stunning.
Yeah, that just shows you there, doesn't it? I mean, there's a lot of that there on Ed Woodward, but it just shows you the time where I think just go. Were they literally? They were all Ferguson players, weren't they?
Yeah.
Straight into a time where United had never even been before. We were at a time when we were just consistently under Ferguson, and we got Woodward thrown onto us straight away, and then Van Gaal came in, and then the players were probably thinking, you've probably seen a lot of players there go, no, this isn't for me. I can't adapt to another manager. I was too cushy and soft-soaped before on the time that we had under Ferguson, and that sort of just came at that time then. And the fact that Woodward was in charge of everything then just shows, because the values that you just brought up there as well, Mark, dear God. I mean, there's a few of them players United fans would have still liked to be at the club. I mean, we've all talked about Nani, Raphael, them sort of players. Evans now at Leicester, look what he's doing. But for me, this showed, showed naivety. Yeah, you'd take Evans now in his form, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, look at him with Maguire last season.
I think Johnny Evans is probably one of the ones that jumps out the most. 7 million at 27 years of age, and look at what he's doing at Leicester. What, 5 years later? So
when he was at West Brom, City offered 27 million for him.
Yeah,
that just seems to me like United would just just get rid of him. Whatever Nani was 28, 4 million. Just stunning. And Hernandez is a goal scorer. Whatever you do with him, 10 million at 27. I mean. We've got better than that, I think, now, but that is just all. When I read it today, I was like, I remember that summer, but I didn't remember that Johnny Evans went. And when you add that in, it makes it even worse. Anyway, we're doing a Manchester United transfer tier list. I think we'll have to do this over a couple of shows, to be honest, because there's quite a few players to get through. So we've put Luke. The categories are elite signing, decent signing, average signing, not great signing, and awful signing. We've got a couple in the average, which is Mata and Fred. We've got a couple in the decents, three in the decents, Pogba, Matic, and Shaw. Mata and Fred are average. Let's do, this is another Van Gaal one. It's from the following year, 15-16. It's Anthony Martial. And £54 million for Anthony Martial. Where would you put him, Adam?
Martial straight away goes into one of the top two categories. You probably look at it in different ways. You could say he hasn't won a major trophy at United yet. You could put it into that category. You could say he's been mismanaged, which he has. I did something on this on my channel the other day with Rashford and Martial and the future of Manchester United, because this is the first season now, I think, or the first manager since Martial's been at the club, because he's had 3, I think, himself, hasn't he? So This is the first manager who's fully backed Martial and Rashford at the same time, because when Mourinho came in, he gave Martial's shirt to Ibrahimovic. Yeah, we all know Martial spat his dummy out a little bit on that, but straight away, first of all, it was Ibrahimovic, then it was Lukaku. We were sort of pushing Martial aside because that's how Mourinho wanted to go. So I think Martial lost 2 seasons under Mourinho. I really do. I think he was mismanaged completely, horrendously by Jose Mourinho. And for me, for him to come back the way he has done the last 2 seasons especially, he's stepped up to the mark. For me, Martial, he's definitely pushing the elite sort of category for me. He's pushing it because he is on his day unplayable, and we're seeing more of them days more and more often now, which is what I'm looking forward to the most. He's young and he's only going to get better and better with the likes of Bruno Fernandes around him, players like this, Pogba going forward. I think Martial, you could easily slot him into elite. You really could. I think elite is to come. Ricky's going to put him in the elite. I just don't think Martial.
Wait while you listen to. Do you want to wait while I do mine and then say what you think after that?
No, you're not going to convince me on it, mate. So I know Martial is. I know what player he is.
I'm convinced that I can convince you both on this. It's dead simple.
No, because if I compare Martial to some of the people I think Mark might bring up, then he's not quite there for what I've seen. He is pushing elite. He's pushing elite, but again, because of mismanagement, we can't judge him. We can't say Martial is any different. We can't say Martial's different to the likes of Pogba. and Luke Shaw and what they've missed in seasons. He's been mismanaged.
Right, well, wait.
He's been mismanaged and he's been wasted for 2 years.
Give him your answer and I'll give you mine.
So I'm going to go simply. I know he's going to go into elite because he's going to be managed properly now. But as it is right now, from what we've had, I'm going to put him in the decent right now. He's definitely going to get to elite, but right now, I think he's at a definite decent.
Right, we're taking everything that we can think of into account here, aren't we? Everything.
Well, you've got I mean, £54 million 5 years ago probably puts him at the £90 million category now.
How much would you say if you were selling him? What would you get for him?
I get laughed at for this. I always say Martial start the bidding at 120 million. I've always said that.
I'd say 100 million for Martial easily.
Right. So if you bought him for 54 million, you've used him for 4 years, and you sell him for 100 million. That is definitely an elite. It's more than elite piece of business.
Yeah, you got to add a lot of inflation to that there as well, Ricky, mate. You do. But I mean, look at some of the players that are going about at the moment and what they're priced at.
No,
it's a business. Crazy money
these days. It's a business.
It's a business.
But use that money for other things. We bought him for 50. I know inflation, but inflation isn't that much in 3 or 4 years, mate. It really isn't.
It is on them. It is on the Premier League. It's a world of its own. It's totally different.
Well, if you're going to say that, we could also argue that you probably won't get that for him now because of the coronavirus impact. But we won't.
The corona always comes into it, doesn't it?
If Martial was 54 million, and even if you could sell him for 80 million now, that is an elite piece of business. When you've had him playing for
business, but business-wise, like you said, like Mark said at the start, since we've had him, we haven't won a league.
We're talking
into that category.
We're talking about the signing. Doesn't matter. Yeah. Doesn't matter what. If I bought a piece of equipment for 60 million quid and used it for 4 years and then sold it for 80 million quid, that's an elite piece of business. That's an elite signing. It's an elite bit of work.
But we get, but we on the same hand.
But we've got to see what's on the pitch as well. Don't forget, and he contributed.
Not really.
He contributed.
We could not really, because if you signed him 4 years ago for 50 million quid and never put him on the pitch once, and then sell him for 100 million quid, that's elite. That is elite.
No. That's not the point. You've got to, elite signings are like Ronaldo, innit? You've got to look at
elite. We're being tough. We're being harsh on it. Don't get me wrong. I know where you're coming from, Ricky, with Martial. I really do. But I'm just treating it exactly the same way as I have the last few players. I know where Martial's going. I know right now, any club in the world would take Anthony Martial, and that says a lot right now. I've just got to look at what he's done while he's been at United, and the mismanagement has not helped his cause. I will definitely put that in his favour because Mourinho destroyed Anthony Martial. Absolutely destroyed him. And he's come back.
I don't understand how you can both be saying that he's worth 100 million quid and you said you'd start the bidding at 120 million quid and then turn around and say he's not an elite player.
I haven't said that. I'm not the one saying
no, you could say that. You could say that about a few players, Ricky, though. How much is Luke Shaw worth now?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, he'd be worth 50, 60. So, yeah. That's
you're doubling his money. You're doubling his money from a time back before Martial.
And look what Josh said as well. He'd be lucky to get 10 bags of crisps for Matic now. What does that say about him? And you've said he's decent. 10 million, he said.
It's what you've had out of the player. I mean, with the Matic thing, he's done all right for us. He was 40 million quid. He's aged now. He's not got a resale value. But Martial has been a good player for us, at least good. I don't think anyone can deny he's not been a good player. At the times, a lot of the games he's missed that Mourinho was leaving him out of the games, he should have been playing in the games. He dropped him when he signed Sanchez. He just scored in the previous 3 of the previous 4 games for something, and he dropped him. Do you know what I mean?
You could see. I didn't even mention Sanchez.
Managers have misused him. He's been a brilliant signing and probably doubled his value. If he's not an elite signing, I'm a Chinaman.
You don't look it, Ricky, but no, I'm not going along.
It's your goal. He's having to think about it now. He might be changing his mind.
No, he's looking at some of the comments there because you could say there's elite money and decent money, and then you've got elite players and decent players judging off different categories.
We're talking about elite signings, no matter what the reason is.
It's not business, though, is it? It's the signing for the club.
I think you've got to take into account not just the fact that the value, because I think there will be examples of players who aren't elite signings, but what we bought them for and what they're worth now. And I mean, Dan James isn't one we're going to do tonight, but he's worth way more than 15 million already. And I wouldn't say he was an elite signing. So, but no, I had gone elite with Martial because I'm a big fan of Martial. And I'm probably more leaning towards what Adam's saying because I understand it. But I would have been calling Martial an elite signing a year ago because I just love the player. So I think he is going to be that. I think it's safe to put him in that category, but I also think Adam's probably right to put him at decent. But I had gone elite, so we'll put him in the elite signing. But I think if you put decent as well, it makes a lot of sense. It does make a lot of sense. And I do agree. I think Ricky's right. You know, the value that he is, and the fact, like Adam says, most clubs in the country would definitely take him, and I know that for a fact. I've had Liverpool and City fans say it. So, but yeah, he is in the elite. He's the first one in the elite group. So well done to Anthony Martial. Let's do a Solskjaer signing because we haven't done a Solskjaer signing yet. We'll go to. I can't really do Dan James because we spoke about Dan James. We'll do. Harry Maguire, I think he's a good one. 80 million quid, Harry Maguire. I know it's only a year, and I think that we've got to be careful because it's not even a year yet. And I look at some of Mourinho's signings after a year. Pogba was brilliant. Eric Bailly looked brilliant. And 2 years later can be different. So we are going to put that caveat in. But Harry Maguire, elite signing, decent signing, average signing, not great or awful. Ricky, do you want to start with that one, Harry Maguire?
Yeah, he's doing all right. I wasn't convinced at first. I thought he was a bit dodgy at first, but he has improved. He's a leader. He's great in the air. 80 million quid. I still think it's too much, and that's what we're taking that into account now.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good point.
So, I'm going to go decent, but he's sort of average to decent, but I'm going to go decent. Harry Maguire, yeah.
Decent signing, Harry Maguire. Adam, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, he's decent. He's the money coming into it there. It's like you said, Harry Maguire now is an example of what we just talked about with Martial. 80 million. The prices some players are right now are stupid and they're nowhere near that much. But for me, definitely decent. He's the one centre-back who we've got at the club, and we've got a few who go straight into the team without a doubt. So I think definitely decent because it's his first year. It's like you said then, we don't know what's going to happen next year. It could become too much when the expectancy goes up even more, which it will. He's going to have to go up another level for us to get to that next level, which is challenging for the league. We're nowhere near that yet, by the way, but you know what I mean? He's one player who we're looking towards to be that sort of player to see us through. He's going to be a mainstay in the team. So for me, definitely decent player. He can get better. He can become elite for me. He really can. I do like Harry Maguire. I like the way he plays. I like the leadership, like Ricky said then. You just don't beat him in the air. I wish he would have been a bit more lethal at the other end of the pitch and bagged a few more goals because he did have a few chances this year with his head, which he missed. But yeah, for what 7 months of a career at United, decent.
Yeah, I think I will agree with decent because I want to get a couple more in before we finish at 9. But I think we're talking about last week. The performance against Everton was the turning point for me, where he showed that he can be world class. He's now got the captain's armband. I thought if it had continued his first 3 months to now, I would be saying average. I do think you've got to take into account 80 million. That is a lot of money. And he is overpriced, but it's not his fault. But I still think he gets into the decent category for me. So I would put Harry Maguire in at decent. We're going to wander back a few years. I wanted to definitely, we're not going to get them all done tonight. I don't know why I thought we were. There's 30 players, and I don't think we've even got to 10 yet. So there'll definitely be a part 1 and 2 to this, but we will get a couple more in. And this is one I wanted to do. So we're going back to Sir Alex Ferguson here because there are some signings towards the back end of his career that I wanted to bring in that are still here now. One of them is from 2011, and his name is David Daheia. We paid £22 million for David Daheia in 2011. You can be elite, you can be decent, you can be average, you can be not great, or you can be awful as a signing in our tier list. Adam, David Daheia.
Elite.
Elite.
Elite. There's no question, mate. Player of the year 4 years in a row when we were playing dog shit football. There's no question at all. I tell Real Madrid, with a year left on his contract, were close to paying 40-50 million for a player on the last year of his deal. Says everything. That's Real Madrid. So for me, he's going to get. Yeah, it's no question. There's not even an explanation. His stats and his performances speak volumes.
And it's the reason I put him in there is because, and I'm glad that everyone's going elite, and a lot of people are saying elite in there, but he's only 30, I think, now, and people are saying Dean Henderson should be the goalkeeper. And I think it's important to look at what this guy's done, and he ain't 40. Like, if he was 40, like Buffon, I'd still be saying, should we be kicking him out the team? He's got another decade of potentially being the goalkeeper he's been for the last decade. So you'd go elite, Ricky?
Yeah, definitely. He's, it's the length of time that he's played for us. Been brilliant most of the time. There's been the odd bleep, obviously, but 22 million quid, and he's been with us that length of time. He walks into the elite category. Don't forget, we're talking about the signing. We're talking about fee and everything, aren't we?
Yeah, the whole package. That's what you got to look at.
The whole for the package at 22 million quid, definitely elite.
And George Carl says he's actually 29, so yeah, he's not even 30 yet. So I just think he's our number one goalkeeper. He's 100% elite, and he goes into the category with Martial. And Martial probably in that category looks a bit shallow compared to what Daheia's done, but we have got our second elite signing in there. The next player I want to go to, I want to try and do somebody who's a little bit
shit.
Yeah, but not obviously shit. Well, actually, I'll tell you what. Let's do it. I think he'd do well on a different show. I think old Pink Boots would do better on his own show towards the start. I don't want to leave him towards the end because there's some comedy to be had that one. Oh, sod it. Let's just do Phil Jones. Yeah, Phil Jones. 11. Same season we bought Daheia. 22 million for Daheia. 17 million for the new Duncan Edwards in 2011. Not my words. The words of Sir Alex Ferguson. He's done some bad things in his career. Jemba, to beat Taibbi in goal, but he did mention Duncan Edwards and Phil Jones in the same sentence. We all make mistakes, but 17 million, Phil Jones. There's a long career there to look at, Ricky. I mean, it's very easy just to remember his pink boots, but has it all been bad? But 17. I was going to say 70, you can get in the awful category straight away. I'll make a special category for him.
17 million and the amount of games he's played, the length of time we've had him, I'm going to say he's not in one of the bottom two categories. He's been an average, I'd say.
Average, nothing more, just average, yeah. Phil Jones, average.
Average, yeah. He's not pulled up any trees, has he? He's not pulled up any trees, and he's had quite a few bad moments, but he's had a lot of decent games as well. He hasn't been too bad. Some people.
But how does he get into the same category as Matter and Fred? I mean, that's what I'm thinking. What's he done to get above?
He hasn't pulled up any trees. He just knocks them down, mate. He just
runs into him.
Yeah, he just runs into him and knocks them down.
For a centre back who's played over 200 games.
But what's he done good? I mean, that a genuine question. You've got 5 categories here. You've got awful. No, you've got awful, not great, average. We've got Fred in average, and we're putting Phil Jones in average. As a signing,
the length of time and the money, we're taking everything into account. Fred was 50-odd million quid, and he's been there 18 months or something. Phil Jones was 17 million quid.
Yeah, we've paid him for nearly 10 years. This is another factor as well. It's like a cockroach.
No, I'm going to say he's been an average signing, Phil Jones. I really am. I don't think. I'm not a fan of his, not in any way, shape, or form. But he's been there long enough to have played. I think he's played about 160 league games. He's played about 240 games, I think, in all competitions. I don't think for 17 million quid he deserves to be in the awful signing category. I don't think so. It's an awful comment by Fergie to say he was the next Duncan Edwards. He had a lot to live up to. So I'm saying for 17, don't forget, I'm talking about the price. For 17.
Yeah, 17 million today, though, that would be well over 70 million, wouldn't it? Be Harry Maguire fee.
Do you think so?
With inflation, 9 years? Certainly, I think it'd be around 50.
Maybe
yeah.
So.
I just can't think of anything good he's done, apart from them pink boots.
He had a decent game. Well, he had more than a
decent game in 2013 against Rochdale.
We have spoken about single moments. You shouldn't really do that. You started it by saying Pogba scored against City, so I carried it on by saying Mata scored against Wolves. Jones had a good game against Spurs in the FA Cup semi-final at Wembley. We were right under the cosh throughout the game, really, off a long periods.
What did he do in the final, though?
Well, it's another game, isn't it? I'm talking about that game.
I know.
Was that when he fell on his arse and gave a penalty away?
Yeah, that's when he should have been sent off. I'm gonna go completely opposite way. You can look at 17 million. You can look at God knows how many years, same amount of time at the club as David Daheia. You compare the both. It's to opposite ends of the scale for me. He goes straight into the awful because 17 million, but he's been sat there stealing probably that much in bleeding wages and doing absolutely nothing. I mean, he's got more own goals than he has goals, I think, for United. He's nothing got. He had an all right first season. I remember it well. I can remember him running the length of the pitch against Stoke and thinking, this is a Duncan Edwards, this. He ran from one end of the pitch to the other. My granddad was a stickler for this. He says, why are we playing Phil Jones at centre-back? He's a right-back. He was always a right-back. I'm like, I can't even remember him. We tried him in the hole. I remember him 5-0 against Leverkusen when Giggs came out and said, you can do whatever you want when you've got players like Phil Jones playing alongside you. I was like, whoa, what? What are these comments? I'm like, he's not there. But for me, no, he is out of what? If we had all our centre-backs back, he's bottom of all our centre-backs in terms of being picked. He's below Rojo. And that, for me, definitely puts him in the awful category. There's so much more could go on about Phil Jones, but I'm hoping we get another player in before we finish. So I'm killing it at awful.
Well, leave it at that.
We'll have to go to the live comments for this because Ricky's putting him in average. Adam's put him in awful, and I'd done this before, so I'd put him in not great. So it's going to be down to we can't decide on Phil Jones.
Well, I think it'd be fair to say not great because you're in between the two of us, aren't you?
Yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, I don't know why I didn't go awful because Adam really convinced me, but I just put not great. I think I just thought he has survived for 9 years, which I do actually applaud him for. I just think it's amazing that he's nearly been at this club for 10 years. And I can't think about hardly anything that he's done. I mean, he's been to World Cups in that time. Let's not forget. I mean, it's not just a problem United have got. But I just that Sheffield United game before Christmas where Ollie actually realised he's crap and has not used him since and basically kept playing Harry Maguire and Lindelof even though they were knackered. And I was thinking, Phil Jones is fit. He could play this game today. It's at home. Rome to Newcastle. No, Lindelof and Maguire. And it's all because of that Sheffield United game where he's getting beaten by goal kicks. You know, it's just he's not great. So he goes into that not great category. And what was that? Sentiments might be clouding Ricky's judgment, says Marky. Oh no, I think he's got his opinion, and that's it. Right, we will do. Who should we do next? I want to get a good one in. He's a good one actually. Sergio Romero. 15-16 season, so 2015, 5 years ago, Sergio Romero on a free transfer by Louis van Gaal. Adam.
Free transfer?
Yeah. Free transfer for the best number 2 goalkeeper in the world. He goes into decent straight away. He's not played enough games to be anywhere near elite, but I can't think of a game where he's let us down. I really can't. You can say average. I can understand the argument for average, but we're looking at, we bought him as a number 2. So that's why we bought him as a transfer. He cost us nothing. He's never let us down when he's come in. I don't think he's on loads and loads of money. I don't think he's just one of them players, isn't it? If you're looking at it, what we bought him for, we knew he wasn't going to take Daheia's spot, but he was going to be adequate to. And right, did he play the Europa League final as well?
He did,
yeah,
yeah.
He played all the way through the competition. So
I think he's played other finals as well. I think
he's won as a trophy for nothing, you could say, for no price tag. So straight away, you've got to push him towards decent. I've got no issue putting Romero in decent. For the reason we bought him, the price we bought him, and for what he's done, he goes into decent. If I'm looking at it on that point of it, I can understand average because he hardly plays. So, but for me, I'm looking at it on we bought him for that reason, and that's what he's done.
I think he has some ridiculous record of playing around 60 games with over 30 clean sheets, and he's won 3 trophies or something like that. So I don't know how he managed that.
Final.
Yeah. But you've got to take into account he was free as well, Ricky. And where would you put Romero?
Believe it or believe it not, I'm going to put him in elite.
I don't believe anything with you. You've put Phil Jones as average, so you seem to be 2 levels up.
Well, I think you keep forgetting that we're talking about what we've got for the signing and taking into account the value.
Yeah,
I don't. I'm not. When I'm saying he's elite, I'm not saying like he's a better player than Anthony Marshall or as good as Paul.
Saying as a signing, yeah.
And he was free, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was free, and it's all right. Adam saying that he doesn't play a lot, like you just said. I think he's played about 60 games, which is a fair few games. It's not like he's completely sat on the bench all the time. And at the same time, you've got an absolutely top quality goalkeeper sitting on your bench. I know he rarely has to get used, but you need that. We don't need some average goalkeeper sitting on our bench. We've got a top class goalkeeper sat on our bench.
Yeah, you could say on top of that. I think someone just said it in the comments there. He's an elite number 2.
He's an
elite number 2.
Because what we're really doing when you say an elite signing, in a way, you're not really rating the player as such. You're rating what the manager did, whoever the manager was who signed him. Was he an elite signing or a good signing or a bad signing by that manager? And to get him and have him here for 4 or 5 years, like we have, sat on the bench, backing up Daheia and the quality that he is for nothing, that's an elite signing by that manager. And
says it all, done it? When we've got 2 goalkeepers over the last 7 years that are in our elite category. That says a lot, doesn't it?
Well, Romero's not going in the elite because Ricky went elite and Adam went decent and I went decent. So he's not going to make it in the elite. And the reason is, I think he has got a great record, but most of the time it's against farmers. He plays against the crap teams. And I'm never going to forgive him for the 3 points he cost us at Swansea 3 or 4 years ago, where he was treating the ball like a bloody balloon. And I think we were 1-0 up and he cost us the 3 points. And, games that stick in your mind. Everyone always knows I never give Romero as much credit as he definitely does deserve. But this is my chance to get him back for that. So you're not going elite. You're going in the decent category, Sergio, because I remember that Swansea game, you bastard. And, he's a very good goalkeeper, but it doesn't feel right to put him into elite to me. So we'll put him in decent on that one. But when I was doing the list, I thought, what a signing he is, because I was doing everyone's fee. And the one that jumps out as a free transfer, and we'll probably do it on the next show, is Latan. But I saw Romero, free transfer. I thought, bloody hell, you can't knock that. To have a goalkeeper who can come in and do that job. I don't think, if Daheia ever got a bad injury, and touch wood he won't, you can talk about Henderson, but I think over the last 4 or 5 years, if Romero had come in, you wouldn't have had a problem with that at all. Right. Well, we will definitely be doing a part 2 to this. I hadn't envisaged that, but it's been really good, and we've still got a lot of players to come. But in the elite category so far, we've got Daheia, and there was somebody else, wasn't there? Martial and Daheia in the elite category. In the decent category, and this is about signings, taking into account what we paid for them and how well they've done, you've got Romero, Luke Shaw's in there as well, Pogba's in there, and Harry Maguire's in there. And then in the average category, we had Fred and Mata, and then we had Phil Jones, not great. So we didn't get anyone totally awful yet. Phil Jones done well. You should be happy tonight, Phil. Have a beer if you're watching. That's improvement.
Lucky boy.
Thank Ricky. But look, thanks for coming on, lads. Really appreciate it. And we'll pick this up definitely the next week or the week after, because it definitely needs to be a second episode of that on the tier list. And we'll be doing other categories over the next few weeks as well. But give a shout out to your socials, boys.
Rick the Red UK.
On Twitter, yeah.
Yeah, get me YouTube and Instagram on Mad Red United, and Adam Stock 30 on Twitter.
There you go. Thanks everyone for watching. Smash the like on the video. We're back in the morning with the Man United news and 8 o'clock tomorrow. We'll pick this. I'm really looking forward to it. I didn't realise we'd do a part 2 of this, so I'm very looking forward to doing that. But we'll keep it for Sunday nights. The tier list 1 is done. And we will get a chart done at some point. But good. Really enjoyed that. Hope you did at home. Thanks for your contributions and getting involved in the live comments. And we'll speak to you all soon. I don't know how I thought we were going to get through about